Welcome back. If you thought the season of cringe ended with the first round of Meghan's lifestyle experiment, prepare for disappointment. With love, Meghan has returned, and sadly, it brings exactly the kind of flaws that make viewers over 50 instantly lose their appetite. The camera caresses the shine of rings, bracelets, and flowing sleeves. The sound design amplifies every shallow breath as though this were cozy ASMR, and once again the kitchen is staged as a runway, with food reduced to a prop. In a genuine cooking show, the food dictates the rules: technique, hygiene, pace, logic. Here the rules are dictated by image, and as a result, everything suffers, from safety to the simplest usefulness for the viewer. It starts with the basics: hands. In real life, hygiene is not complicated. Take off your jewelry. Tie back your hair. Wipe the counter. Slip a damp towel beneath the cutting board so it doesn't slide. For small movements that don't make you a snob, they make you someone who respects both the ingredients and the person who will eat them. But in Season 2, the glitter still rules the frame. Rings drag through dough and spices, bracelets jingle over frying pans, hair falls into shot like a decorative flourish. On Instagram it might look luxurious. In a kitchen it looks careless. And the older viewer, with decades of family dinners behind them, spots the false note faster than any younger audience. Where vanity intrudes, respect for the craft vanishes. Next, the knife. A kitchen is not about posing, it is about grip. When someone truly cooks, their hand embraces the blade with confidence, thumb and forefinger resting near the heel, wrist steady, the knife rocking in a smooth arc with the tip anchored to the board. On with love, Meghan. Instead of craftsmanship we see tense sliding, a pinch grip at the far end of the handle, and shots that make viewers instinctively pull back their own fingers. Against this, every attempt at homely intimacy reads as theatre: too much effort to seem, too little assurance to be. And the issue is not that Meghan is no professional chef. Julia Child made mistakes constantly, but her mistakes were honest, working mistakes. She laughed, explained, corrected. Here, errors are treated as part of the performance, not as lessons. Editing deepens the problem. Good food television has rhythm, prep, technique, assembly, plating, tasting, reflection. The camera lingers where viewers need to understand a movement, and skips where things are obvious. In this new season the rhythm is inverted: a close-up of jewelry, a heavy pause, to a mess, then credits. Recipes dissolve into poses. The viewer finishes the episode with nothing to bring back into their own kitchen: no clear measurements, no step-by-step order, not even a small trick worth repeating. That is why these episodes have no second life. Nobody re-watches what offers no utility. The much-advertised ASMR aesthetic is equally hollow. The hush of a blade rocking on wood, the click of its heel, can indeed soothe when there is order behind the frame. But when bracelets jangle above the chopping board, oil pops on the stove, and the microphone captures every nervous gasp, the viewer feels not calm but anxiety. How long until we see a cut finger, a burn, or another sticky napkin in place of proper kitchen discipline? True comfort is the silence of craft. Here, sound is often camouflage for the absence of craft. The most painful moment comes at the table. Not aristocratic etiquette, just basic respect: napkin to lips, mouth closed, comments after swallowing, fingers not thrust toward the lens. In Season 2, tasting again becomes a performance of "I'm just like you." But for older audiences it has the opposite effect. When someone eats as if rushing, and speaks as though the filming matters more than the dish, trust collapses. Food is intimate space. You may invite the camera in, but you cannot break that intimacy. Viewers do not forgive such violations, because they nearly always signal calculation, not authenticity. Then comes the theme of simplicity. The promos repeat the line, "I love to cook at home, it's all simple." Good news: simplicity works when there is a system. A few practiced moves, 2 or 3 reliable habits, one little signature touch, and the viewer believes they can repeat it. Bad news: simplicity cannot survive falsehood. When one shot declares simple joy and the next parades villa glamour with jewelry mixed into the dough, trust shatters instantly. Older viewers are not against beauty. They are against learned simplicity that reeks of staging. Comparison with the classics is inevitable. Nigella Lawson could lick her finger and it looked sensual. because the hour before was filled with silent knife work and gentle self-mockery. Ina Garten could pull out a prepared shortcut and no one minded, because the entire recipe had been laid out in clear steps, and her voiceover explained honestly where time was saved. Even in daytime British TV, cooks like Phil Vickery taught not how to hold a wineglass for the camera, but how to position a kettle so steam wouldn't warp the cupboards. These details created a sense of home. In With Love, Meghan, the home is performed, never built. Some may object, so what? It's lifestyle, not culinary school. But in lifestyle, the currency is trust. If you are selling atmosphere, your atmosphere must match the viewer's lived experience. And for our audience, daily life is plain: porridge in the morning, a make-ahead dish for the weekend, an evening dinner that doesn't wreck the kitchen. They don't need dramatic gasps or close-ups of rings. They need one or two practical ideas that make life easier: toasting nuts in a dry pan, marinating chicken ahead of time and portioning it, keeping a rescue jar of homemade sauce in the fridge. When instead they are sold image, they switch off. Because their own lives matter more than your aesthetic. This leads to the other fracture: authenticity. At one point Meghan again declares, "I'm just real." That is the most dangerous phrase in any public kitchen. Authenticity is proven not in words but in habits, by removing jewelry, by the towel under the board, by the steady cut of the knife. By that pause when someone silently tastes, then says simply, "Needs salt or too bitter." Honesty is admitting a failed sauce and showing how to fix it. Not "I'm real, but I made a mistake, here's what to do." That is when the older viewer smiles and thinks, "One of us." Another issue: the lack of home results. Episode after episode shows pretty fragments, but rarely a working system: what to store in the freezer for 10-minute dinners, how to use leftovers properly, how to skeleton a week so cooking doesn't become a full-time serial. That is why viewers still return to old daytime programs. Those gave a plan. You might not share every taste, but you could lean on the structure. In With Love, Meghan, structure dissolves into self-presentation. That makes the project disposable. Then tone. The louder someone insists I'm close to the people, the further away real closeness drifts. People do not need proclamations. They need a calm voice that respects their routines. Most of our audience prefers to be spoken to as equals, without baby talk, without life lessons. In this new season there is too much lecturing and too little knowledge. That irritates. It exhausts. And no soft edit can hide fatigue if there is no craft behind it. Can it be fixed? Yes, if the gloss stops covering for the absence of cooking. If the edit leaves not size and amps but the key movements. If instead of rings, the camera shows a clean hand slicing an onion and immediately teaching how to remove the smell from the board. If posing is replaced by usefulness, quick explanations of why this step matters, what cheap ingredient can substitute, how to prep for tomorrow. Then the love in the title will stop being a word on the cover and start being what it should always be in a kitchen: respect for the food, for oneself, and for the viewer. Picture another scene. The camera rests over the shoulder. On the counter, only what is needed: board, knife, bowl, paper towel. Hair tied back. Hands bare. Tonight, just a weekday dinner. 3 things: potatoes go into the oven, while they bake I make a sauce, and finish with a quick salad. No ode to genius. No I'm real. For movements, and you believe. Because you see work, not image. Because in 10 minutes you've been given 20 minutes of your life back tomorrow. That is why viewers return. That is why they like without being begged. One last honest detail about home. Home is not a flawless surface, it is repeatability. If someone truly cooks, they have a favorite pan, a missing lid, a standby spoon in a jar by the stove. The camera need not romanticize this mess. But it has no right to erase it. With Love, Meghan seems to apologize for every lived-in mark on the counter, then rushes back to sparkle. But sparkle does not equal warmth. Warmth is the steady hand on the knife handle and the viewer's relieved sigh: "Ah, I can do that." Catch that moment, and you win. Miss it, and you lose. Finally, the relatable philosophy. You can be vegan yesterday and eat a burger today. Life changes, tastes too. What you cannot do is repackage every new choice as the final truth of self-discovery. Older viewers accept evolution. They do not accept a rebrand every 3 months, each announced as "at last I've found myself." In the kitchen, finding yourself is measured by one standard: what you can repeat tomorrow, next week, 6 months later. If after half a year your audience has held on to one small habit gifted by your show, you have achieved more than 100 close-ups of bracelets. The moral strike. A kitchen offers a simple truth: either you cook, or you pretend. When pretense comes before craft, the viewer feels it immediately and clicks away. With love, Meghan, as it stands, is not about love and not about food. It is glossy theatre trying to convince us that shine equals flavor. But taste is born not in the camera, but in the quiet where knife meets board and hand meets towel. Take off the jewelry. Tie back the hair. Admit the mistake. Give the exact step. Only then speak of home happiness. Otherwise it isn't with love. It's with cringe. And no editing suite can wash away the aftertaste of showmanship.